While dealing with the pandemic, we perhaps overlooked the fact that people's lifestyles were being severely disrupted. Many people became physically inactive, they developed irregular eating patterns, and that in turn led to unhealthier lifestyles and aggravation of lifestyle diseases. Now, COVID-19, of course, has caused significant changes to our homes, to our work lives, to our stress levels, and a multidimensional approach is clearly needed, one that will help us have healthier diets, increase our physical activity, and of course can help slow down diabetes, which is now reaching epidemic proportions, and of course heart disease as well. As always, we're joined by medical experts on the show to give you their advice on just how you can lead a healthy life. Joining us on the show today, Dr. Kishore Babu Kunta, Mahima Diabetic Center, Hyderabad. We're also being joined by Dr. Prakash Chandra Mondal, MBBS, MD, MRCP UK, MRCP Ireland, MRCPS Glasgow, DM Cardiology, DNB Cardiology. He's with the Apollo Gleneagles Hospital in Kolkata. We're also being joined by Dr. V.S. Ramachandra, MD, DM, FACC, FSCAI, FASC. He's a cardiologist with the Sri Sri Holistic Hospitals in Hyderabad. Thank you all for giving us your time. Let me begin with Dr. Kishore Babu Kunta. Is there any association or relation, Dr. Kunta, between blood glucose control and COVID-19 outcomes? What more do we need to know about the linkages here?
Yeah, thank you. There is definitely a link between COVID patients with uncontrolled diabetes, because in COVID patient with better sugar control, we can notice lower levels of inflammatory markers. So this COVID-19 pandemic and along with the hyperglycemia, it may trigger the worst outcomes like renal impairment, secondary infection, respiratory failure, and potentially resulting in death. So it is always better to have a better glycemic control even in a COVID-19 patient. So that can be only done with a better monitoring and awareness among the people.
Right. Dr. Prakash Chandra Mondal, this question going out to you. People with COVID-19 infections experience high blood pressure. In some cases, this is transient. In other cases, this high blood pressure condition seems to last for quite a while. Now, is this just due to the side effect of medicines or the stress caused by, a COVID infection, or is this something more?
Actually, systemic hypertension in India is still the most common cardiac disease. And we have seen around 30 to 50% of the patients are hypertensive. And some of them has defaulted in their drug intake because of loss of medical follow-up. This has compounded the whole scenario, because my former speaker has told the diabetes. Diabetes is most of the time is associated with hypertension also. And diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, chronic kidney disease, all has got a tendency to have inflammatory internal body milieu. And this leads to bad outcome, short term and long term both. In-hospital complications are much, much higher if the patient is having diabetes, hypertension, or isolated hypertension. In our data, hypertension doubles the risk of having severe COVID. And also, chances of having hospitalization is more, at least 2.5 to 3 times more. And outcome is also bad. So from that point, the patients should have a tight BP control, should not lose follow-up, and they should not follow the myth of having ACE inhibitor ARB. This group of hypertension medications can lead to bad COVID. That was the initial connotation that has been proved false. And these medicines are quite safe. So they should not discontinue any medicine. They should have proper checkup, and they should have proper control of other risk factors also, so that this outcome of COVID should be much, much better.
Right.
And regarding direct relation with COVID with hypertension, it is usually stress related. Right. And because of I have catch that COVID infection is a fearful experience actually. Most of the patients, particularly those who are middle-aged or young, they have a very heightened response to this COVID-19 infection. They can put up their blood pressure.
Right.
And also regarding some patient also asks me, should I go for COVID-19 vaccination that can increase my blood pressure? Usually no, unless the patient pain response is too much or he is not too anxious. The blood pressure will not go up. And regarding drop of blood pressure, some patients also ask, can the blood pressure get dropped? That is also very, very rare unless there is some allergic reaction. That will happen within 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And after vaccination, usually 30 minutes after that patient's in a course.
Dr. Mondal, that's a very clear breakup of the possible links between increased hypertension and COVID-19, and we appreciate the point you make about vaccination in no way adding to high blood pressure. So that's an important takeaway from what you've just told us. Dr. V.S. Ramachandra, what about new onset atrial fibrillation? Now that's been seen in some patients who were hospitalized with COVID-19. Can you tell us a little more about atrial fibrillation? Just what is it? How serious is this condition? What should the average person know about this?
Atrial fibrillation is actually a very common rhythm disorder. Normally the upper chambers get electricity first, they contract, blood flows into the lower chambers, then the lower chambers get their electric supply. In atrial fibrillation, what happens is the upper chambers are beating around 200 to 300 times a minute, which means they're really not contracting. So in this situation, there could be blood clots forming in the upper chambers, and these can dislodge and small fragments can go to the brain, producing stroke. So in any hospitalization, especially if there's a fever or there's inflammation, can increase the chance of atrial fibrillation almost tenfold. So this happens in COVID also, that they have more episodes of atrial fibrillation. Not only that, COVID many times involves the heart directly, its muscle. So that also can lead to atrial fibrillation. Luckily, most people with COVID get anticoagulants during their hospitalization and even later. And this helps prevent those blood clots from forming in those upper chambers and prevents strokes also. So luckily, although most people are just treating COVID, they're also taking precautions against atrial fibrillation.
All right. Thank you for that. Dr. Kishore Babu Kunta, people with diabetes are always in a dilemma about their food choices, their dietary choices. What sort of food is it safe to eat while a person is on insulin?
So, irrespective of patient, whether he is on insulin or not, so diet is more important. Because in diabetology, we have ABCD of diabetes. So A stands for 3 months blood sugar, average sugar, HbA1c, and B is for blood pressure, C is for cholesterol, D is for diet, and E is for exercise. As in this ABCD, you can see that diet is more important. So as we all know, a diet, it should be a low carb diet, especially in the Indian patients or Indian population. We tend to have more of a carbohydrate diet. So, and through this medium, I really want to tell about not using a special diets like super diet, keto diets, and all those things. So to control diabetes, but the diabetes to control diabetes, we need to have a balanced diet. Especially, we should concentrate on the low carb diet and avoid few foods which can be like banana, custard apple, mangoes, grapes, pineapple. So these fruits should be avoided. On the other side, the fruits which are permitted are apple, papaya, guava, orange, watermelon, and pomegranate. So bottom line is there should be no special diet, but it should be a balanced diet.
So no special diet, but a balanced diet. Important advice there. Now, normal blood pressure, of course, is commonly known to be around 120 over 80. Dr. Mondal, is it possible for a person to have BP outside this normal range of 120 by 80 and yet be perfectly healthy?
Yes, actually, hypertension is a silent killer. Most of the time, patients are asymptomatic. Unless you go for a routine checkup or having some vague symptoms like headache or neck pain or some heaviness in the chest, usually we do ignore it. That's why hypertension has been already stamped as a silent killer. Most of the time it is asymptomatic. ABCD connotation, you see that ABCD, T is blood pressure, C is cholesterol. Actually, all these, what we are discussing today, is a total spectrum of a metabolic disorder. That means high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, all has got a metabolic background. And most of the time it starts from teenage and that jumped up as a disease in the third or fourth decade of life. And most of the time patients don't know how much his cholesterol, how much was his blood pressure. Some of the patients admitted with COVID, when we are telling them that you are hypertensive, they are getting astonished. Hypertensive?
Right.
They never have problem like that. So it is possible. It can be a silent and it may not be detected early.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Dr. V.S. Ramachandra, people who are between 30 and 40 seem to have heart attacks and serious heart problems more and more. What is the main cause of this steep increase in heart problems among a relatively younger population demographic?
Yeah, this happens in all developing countries and especially so in India. Actually, the European Society of Cardiology has said that if you are a Southeast Asian, which means essentially if you are an Indian, your chances of getting a heart attack with the same risk factors is almost 50% more than any other population. So we need to be aware of that. The other thing is, one is smoking. Like, almost 25% of Indians do smoke. A lot of them use tobacco in some other ways. The other problem is metabolic syndrome, like my other speaker was talking about. This is extremely common in India. High metabolic syndrome means your sugars are borderline high, like fasting blood sugar more than 100. Your blood pressure is more than 130 maybe. You have high triglycerides, low good cholesterol, and a pot belly, which may not be too big, but Indians have a lot of pot bellies. So this is metabolic syndrome, and this is the biggest cause of heart attacks in India. To add to this, lipoprotein small a is a genetic lipoprotein, which is also pretty high in Indians. So all these things put together, plus modernization, a lot of mental stress, lack of exercise, in a developing society, people are working very hard to make their mark. So they really ignore their health. So all these things put together has really led to this huge epidemic of heart attacks. And if you look at the average age of heart attack in the US, it's 65 years. In India, it's around 45 years. So that's a great pity.
Let's go right across to Dr. Kishore Babukunta, who's with us on the show. Doctor, it's been noticed that people tend to have more tea and coffee and therefore more sugar while they're working from home, perhaps snack more often also. How does this lead to challenges in monitoring and managing diabetes when clearly there's a situation where you could be eating and drinking more than usual?
So working from home has been, previously it was a very uncommon, but is very common now after pandemic of COVID. And as you were rightly telling, like work from home has been affecting the lifestyle of many people, especially the people who are working from home have been adapted to an unhealthier lifestyle. So like they have been doing less exercise, so there is less physical activity. As WHO actually tells to have 150 minutes of walking per week, that is almost 25 to 30 minutes of walking is needed. But working from home, people have been becoming lazy and there is no physical activity. So that will also impact on the blood sugar level. So again, the work from home will have impact on the diet part also. So as you are telling, like people tend to go more snacking. So along with snacking, they tend to consume a lot of tea, coffee. Along with tea and coffee, there will be added sugar also. So eventually, the blood sugar levels go high.
Right.
So and eventually we will land up in hyperglycemic stage.
Okay, so that's something to be really careful about. Dr. Mondal, many of us have an irregular daily routine when we have to stay for office work, sometimes late into the night. Does that also affect our heart? What precautions can you recommend in situations like that, when these are factors that are beyond the control of most people?
Yes, actually, this irregular daily life that has got a strong impact on heart. Actually, we have a circadian rhythm. That means day should be day, night should be night. Our body is adapted to that. Our hypothalamus and pineal gland are adapted to this. That's why our sleep in night is too deep. If we try to sleep in the daytime, very light and not it is so deep. That means stage 3, stage 4 sleep will be disturbed. It will not be a good sleep. That's why this circadian rhythm management is a part of cardiovascular management also. If we want to prevent heart disease, our daily circadian routine should be maintained, and late night should be avoided too much. If we are forced to do that, we have to be at least, suppose 2 or 3 days in a week or 1 or 2 weeks in a month, that is enough. More than that can create a bad impact on. Also, people are sitting and doing some work from home. They have to do some energy spending exercises. Otherwise, they will be land up in bad metabolic state.
Dr. Ramachandra, given that people working at home and having these irregular schedules could put on more weight, does hypertension medication need to be revised for people with cardiac conditions when they're working from home? And, how should this be done, if at all?
Yeah, I think most people know that the American Heart Association changed its guidelines, which means they said 120/80 is normal. Anything above that is abnormal. The reason is if you already have a heart problem, your blood pressure needs to be really low. We know that above 110/70, for every 20/10 millimeters increase in the blood pressure, your heart attack risk doubles. So it's very important if you have risk factors, which means if you have diabetes or you already have heart problems, to keep your blood pressure low, which means definitely less than 130 and less than 80. So
Right.
The good way to do it is to check your own blood pressure every day with a good instrument, home BP instrument like a Omron blood pressure instrument. It's very important to check and let your doctor know what your home blood pressure is. Then it's very easy for him to regulate. There are beautiful BP drugs in allopathic medicine, so there's no problem controlling blood pressure.
Right. Thank you all very much indeed. That's all we have time for on this edition of Beat Diabetes Myths and Facts. We've talked about the special conditions that we now need to watch out for given the changes in our lifestyle, and just how monitoring a careful diet and regular exercise can actually help us beat diabetes. Thanks for watching.